Hello. So I tried making this video a bunch of times, but things kept happening, so I couldn't. Uh, I'm not gonna give a whole spiel. This video is about season 2 of Fishtank and a bunch of problems I have with it. The video is gonna be called something like Fishtank season 2 disappointing or some poignant BS video essay type name. Even though I'm just gonna be rambling like a crazy person, because I really don't like editing when I'm tired and I have stuff to do tomorrow. And I also have to work on other projects like my D&D game diary. So we're just going to ignore all that nonsense and get right into it. So I'm not going to explain what fish tank is. You know what fish tank is if you're on this video. If you don't, then click off. It's not going to become any better if you stay on. Uh, I have a problem with Fish Tank season 2, like fundamentally. Uh, on by day 5 it was fundamentally broken. For conceptually it was fundamentally broken because Sam Hyde, the guy who in charge of Fish Tank, I know it's Jet Neptune's show, but ultimately Sam Hyde is the guy who makes all the major decisions, and the major decision which he absolutely made is I want to have season 2 be about me getting a bunch of my fans and having them suffer in this house instead of it being just like regular autistic unemployed losers goofing around and doing silly challenges that get crazier and crazier and crazier. It's going to be Sam Hyde making people who like him miserable. And I'm not going to say that's too mean spirited, uh, but I can see why people would think it's too mean spirited. My issue is that Sam Hyde wants to torture his fans because Sam Hyde hates his fans, because his fans tend to be not well, people who are uh, socially isolated, unemployed, uneducated, like in like a higher education sense. Um, People who are like deeply lonely, people who spend way too much time on 4chan and Reddit and Twitter and Encyclopedia Dramatica and basically everything I've ever been guilty of, only to take into the nth degree. And uh, they view Sam Hyde as this kind of like mythical figure because the character of Sam Hyde is someone who flew too close to the sun, got burned, and then crawled his way out screaming, dragging a bunch of crazy people along with him. That's entertaining, uh, and that his whole persona attracts a very specific type of person who is deeply unwell. I'm not saying everyone who's a fan of Sam Hyde or Fish Tank or Million Dollar Extreme, or even like the crazy stuff like even Encyclopedia Dramatica and Kiwi Farms and all that stuff, because I mean, like there's like a Schadenfreude of like messed up stuff being like contained to the internet. Uh, it's just something you don't want to make your entire personality, which is what some Million Dollar Extreme and Sam Hyde fans do. Uh, and Sam has it in his head that these people deserve to suffer because they're bad people, and that may be they may be bad people. I don't believe that they deserve to suffer because these are bad people because they are mentally unwell. Uh, and the idea of a television show where a millionaire just torments people who look up to him, mentally unstable people who look up to him, people who are intellectually disabled, have are neurodivergent, have personality and emotional disorders, are just tormented by him as a television show. I don't really like that, but I'm not gonna pretend like it can't be funny and that it hasn't been funny. There's been some really funny moments in season 2, and there's this kind of like absurd of like, this is so awful, you have to see. It's so awful, it's funny. Like, that's a lot of jokes. Um, and the thing is though, I can, like I said, I can forgive this thing being awful, like ethically and morally being awful. What I cannot forgive is something being narratively awful. The character of Jimmy, Reddit Joker Jimmy, and the character of Thomas, TJ, whatever the third name they gave him was, and so many other people has been wasted. This isn't even really about the people so much as like the characters in this narrative of this show. Uh, a quick rundown. Um, Jimmy was violent, uh, especially towards women, almost exclusively towards women. Uh, Tried getting in their faces, tried pushing, shove, and then eventually he did shove a girl and then throw a mallet like at her general area. It's kind of hard to. The clip does look bad, but also it's at a weird angle where it's like pointing down, so it's hard to tell distance and how far people were. The way she behaved, it's sketchy, but obviously still not good. He got kicked off because of that, but he got kicked off previously because I'm assuming you've watched the show and has an understanding of it so far. If not, just go watch clips of it. You know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, click off the video. Uh, Brian got kicked off so they could keep Jimmy. Or they were just going to eliminate him anyway because he wasn't doing anything particularly interesting. I also think that Sam Hyde didn't view Brian as someone who was like bad enough of a person. There's like a weird diagram of like, you would have to be very, very entertaining or a very, very bad person to be kept on the show. Um, and Brian wasn't bad enough, and he also wasn't entertaining enough. Shinji, nice guy. He doesn't really screw over anybody, but he's entertaining. And TJ is special, but we'll get to him in a second. Trish, terrible person, mean, vindictive. But she's like, again, a terrible person, so he wants her on there to suffer. I think Taylor, I guess it's another case like TJ where this is going past it, but I think Sam Hyde is letting his personal feelings towards his fans and the contestants ruin the show's like narrative. Like I said, Jimmy was gonna get kicked off, but they kept him around because viewership would have gone down because he was a fan favorite. Um, and Sam wanted him on probably because all speculation, but this is my intent. This is my my feelings is that he wanted him to suffer, which I already said. Um, and later on, when he got kicked off again, Sam was out of town, so he got kicked off. Sam came back and brought back Jimmy into the show. And Jimmy was in the show, like, his grand return, which I was excited about because this could be the villain arc of Jimmy. He's a freeloader now. He's not going to win the big prize. The only way he could win is if he wins challenges. And it lasted for like 3 hours, and it was done. But we'll get to that in a second. TJ isn't particularly entertaining, but he seems like a generally good person. I'm not gonna make a comment to his like weird internet stuff because I don't care what like weird stuff a guy does. If it's not illegal, I don't care. Like if it's not a situation where it's like Simon or Simmons, whatever the original Asian guy was in the first season, where it's like, oh, this guy's really creepy. We're gonna get rid of him. As long as it's not that, I don't care. I don't think he's a bad person. He hasn't hit anybody. He hasn't touched anyone inappropriately. He hasn't been super racist, so I don't care. Um, and obviously Sam Hyde likes him because whenever he like screws with him, he always breaks character a bit and apologizes. Or uh, take the boxing match. That was like a great moment for TJ as a character because the entire time uh, Sam has been like trying to get him to show initiative. It's the whole point of the initiative group subplot. He's been trying to get him to like be more proactive and do things because he wants him to win. He's obviously the main character. TJ is obviously the protagonist of season 2. He's the hero in this hero's journey, and I think Sam Hyde recognizes that. So he's trying to push him, but he's not pushing him hard enough. Is my grand thesis on that, but we'll get to that in a second. Uh, so that boxing match where it takes him a while, but eventually TTS, Texas Speech, manages him to convince him to ring the bell to fight Sam Hyde. And he gets pummeled, but, you know, he earns the respect of Sam Hyde because he keeps getting back up. He keeps going. And the issue I have there is that, one, Sam was too brutal. He wasn't really I don't know if he was. He didn't seem like he was pulling his punches. TJ got pretty dazed. And the second big thing is, I mean, yeah, he congratulated him. He said he was proud of him, which is important for TJ's ego as a character, as a person. He didn't continue training. He didn't train him how to box. He didn't train him how to fight. They're not doing, like with John, he kept trying to teach him how to fight, which is what he should keep doing with TJ, but he doesn't. I don't think TJ fights anyone the rest of they had like a Tai Chi MMA guy around who's like giving him stuff in the first couple episodes or days, but he's gone. He went back to wherever he came from. So they're not. Sam Hyde isn't teaching him how to box. He's not teaching him to be a fighter. And then we have Jimmy, where again they keep backpedaling. They want to kick him off, but they don't. They should have, but they didn't. But then they do, but then they don't want to. But then they actually do, and then they bring him back with Sam Hyde. And then that reveal of White Shark Jimmy is really good. And the thing with the security guards and him getting the phone back is basically what should have been in the narrative is Jimmy is a bastard the entire time. They need to keep a watch on him because, like, the actor who plays Jimmy, the character, is not mentally well. Keep him, contained and make sure he doesn't throw things at anybody. Do that, but have him still be like a sneaky little cheater guy, antagonist. Have him constantly antagonizing everybody. Have him kicked off, and then come back with this grand thing. And while that's happening, constantly, Sam has to focus hard on TJ and make sure he's being trained how to fight and box and stand up for himself and take initiative. And then when Jimmy comes back as the villain, a freeloader who is not going to win the grand prize. He just has to do challenges and get paid for it for a stay there. And he has a one-on-one with some people. Let me go back. I'm messing out my order here. So back to the phone. The scene where White Shark Jimmy sitting on the couch with the 2 security guards, which are they there to protect him or to protect them? It's obviously the point doesn't matter. From TJ's perspective, it should be Sam Hyde and like the has betrayed him by bringing back Jimmy, his rival. And then when Sam Hyde gives him the phone back, the image of him being given this phone by the judge with 2 security guards, while wearing the official white shark uh jumpsuit of like basically it's a betrayal by the mentor in the narrative of the hero's journey, and that would be so devastating for the character of TJ. And then that one-on-one with Jimmy and TJ where Jimmy basically has his moment where he basically explains that he's just gonna hang out and be around, man. He's just gonna be chill, basically doing his like villain monologue of I'm gonna be evil, but I'm playing it like the Lex Luthor bit where he's like, I'm not really evil, but he obviously is. If TJ was given that confidence training and that boxing training, half as long in that room, he'd walk down, ring that bell, and fight Jimmy. Now here's the thing. The entire time, Jimmy should have been aware of the fact that he is going to have to fight TJ in a fight, and he's probably going to lose and be hurt like in the fight. He's going to get hit. That's what needed to happen. Sam Hyde needed to make it known the entire time. But the caveat would be that Jimmy is allowed to fight dirty. He's allowed to cheat. He's allowed to screw around and win contests by cheating and getting out of things and being weaselly. Because he's the villain. He's the bad guy. He's the cheater. That's his character. So that fight shouldn't have been... That entire situation should not have been TJ waiting and waiting and waiting to ring the bell before the people start convincing them to do it. It shouldn't have been Jimmy thinking that he wasn't going to be able to be hit because he can't challenge the freeloader contestants. Not the fish, the freeloaders. And there shouldn't have been a thing where Sam Hyde tells Jimmy that he could fight dirty and then stops him from fighting dirty. And there shouldn't have been a thing where Jimmy almost wins and quits because he can't fight the way he wants to. It's such a failure of the narrative. What should have happened is Jimmy should have been smug and ready to, to be smarmy and ready to cheat, and he should have cheated. TJ goes down, rings the bell, they fight. Either Jimmy fights dirty and wins, and then like Sam's gotta like be there to make sure TJ doesn't get disheartened and quit. Or ideally, Jimmy fights dirty, TJ still wins, but Jimmy as like knows that okay, I lost this, but I'm still a contestant here. I got hit, I got hurt, but I'm going to cheat further, and I'm going to get paid to cheat around and screw around and make everything difficult for TJ so that TJ can overcome me. Sam Hyde didn't make it clear to Jimmy that his purpose in the show is to be beaten by TJ. That wasn't made clear, or it was a weird thing where Sam, again, just wanted to see someone who really, really liked him get hurt because he thought he was not a good person. And he isn't a good person. Jimmy is not a good person. By virtue of being not mentally well. And I just really, really, really don't like the wasted narrative potential of Fishtank Season 2. It's just such a disappointment. Because you could see the narrative of what could have happened. You could see what would have happened if Summer was like, if they didn't try messing with Summer and tried to do the whole, like, if they, like, they shouldn't have convinced done the whole Truman Show thing where they all fans. They shouldn't have even done it to begin with. They should have found a way to get Cole to stop talking about, like, just. The issue is that these are real people who are not actually actors, and there's no actual script. And the problem is that they all have enough self-awareness to know they're on a show and that are trying to be characters, but not enough to accept the fact that they are going to uh like it's gonna not be good all the time. Cole couldn't handle the fact that everyone was always gunning for him, even though he should have played it up. He was Emperor Cole. He could have just done more and just stop talking about season things. Stop trying to do favoritism. Uh, Complain about favoritism. And yeah, they need to stop doing the favoritism thing because it's ruining the show. You can't get rid of the good antagonists and then put a new fake antagonist. And I'll like that's what Brittany was. She was hired onto the show to antagonize Jimmy, and it worked too well. And then she left because of either personal things or she couldn't handle the fact that everyone hated her because she was too good at getting rid of Jimmy. And then she's gone. Then they brought Jimmy back, and well, it doesn't work because you've kept kicking him off. It was whole thing for nothing, and now he's gone again. What was the point of all of that? What was the point of all of this if they're just gonna keep, screwing around with the narrative? It's like you don't know where you're going, and you're just riding yourself in the circles and the holes. You keep throwing out new tangents and hope something catches on, and something did catch on with like the whole Jimmy antagonist arc, but you couldn't control him. You didn't tell him what he needed to do. You didn't fix what his issues were, and you didn't give the other contestants the tools needed to deal with him properly. And you didn't give him the tools he needed to cheat and be a villain without being like coddled entirely. Jimmy should have known that he is going to have to fight TJ and he's going to have to lose and get hurt. They all Jimmy came into the show with this. All of them did because that was the problem with the show is that they're all fans, so they all have meta knowledge of the game. They all think that they could outsmart the system, not realizing that they're there just to suffer. Their suffering is supposed to be the entertainment because that's what Sam Hyde thinks is entertaining. Is watching people who like him uh, flounder is the entertainment, and it just I like seeing the random bits of people saying something goofy or off the cuff or even like vile, or something really mean, and people reacting accordingly. But like little bits and little clips doesn't make a good story. And I guess it's just a problem with reality television is that the narrative always suffers because you either script it too much and it's not reality television anymore, or you don't script anything and it's all just chaos, and then you have no idea what could happen, and then everything just blows up all at once, which it did within the first week because everyone dropped because they all knew it was fundamentally going to be a disappointment because they were going to figure it out. In like the perfect world, everyone acted all crazy but knew it was kind of up to a bit but never mentioned it, and then the last minute Sam says, actually you're all fans, it was all a bit, I want to see you suffer. But that doesn't work because he of all people knows that his fans are unwell. They're not good people. They don't have the mental faculties to be good people. They're violent, they're grabby, they don't know how to have good relationships, they don't know how to interact with people, they cannot take any form of criticism or resistance of any kind. they feel like they're owed so much because they've been denied so much. Because and yeah, like people with like these people aren't like privileged. They're not. They don't have this uh yeah, they don't have privilege. They don't. They're not treated well. And I think like Jimmy works in like a belt factory. Uh, and I'm pretty sure Brian just stays at home and drinks and smokes all day. That's not life. That's not fun. That's not privilege. That's hell. And he's taking people who like live in like a very like Chinese water torture version of hell and just starts waterboarding them as if that's gonna like not cause an immediate eruption and immediately burn out. It's so disappointing because Fishtank season 1, and yeah, it had some problems, but like there was a narrative to season 1 that you could feel. But you know what? Thinking back, maybe there wasn't. Maybe I'm just like thinking that there was like this kind of a Braxis to the situation when there wasn't, because I don't know, if it's just fan favorites then it would have been, I don't know. I think that they just got lightning in a bottle, and I think it was mainly Jet. My understanding was that it was Jet's idea. Jet was the guy behind the cameras, behind a lot of the challenges. My understanding is that it was his baby, and he put all the work in the world into it. And then Sam Hyde was there for bits to be a character, and it worked out. And then in season 2, it was Sam Hyde's bit of "I want to torture my fans," and it's not good. It, it's it's disappointing. And I don't make this seem like I don't want to make it seem like as a fan of Sam Hyde, I'm like resentful that he doesn't like me, because I don't like Sam Hyde either. Like I think he's funny. The character of Sam Hyde's funny. Messing around with Hassan Piker is funny. Uh, Messing around with iDubbbz is funny. Messing around with people who think they're like special or important is funny. Just maybe not when they're poor and unwell and lonely and desperate. That's why Jimmy freaked out when the phone got broken, because it was given to him by production. Like that, like phone is symbolic of his connection to Sam Hyde, uh, and not just that, but his like connection to content creation, to comedy, to art, to entertainment. And what is that connection lead to? What do people who have content and art get? They get friends and money and women and attention and a community. Like it's not just like a toy that was broken, that were attacked. It was it wasn't just a girl breaking a toy. It was a girl who was hired by his idol to destroy something that was symbolically representative of his connection to his idol and his connection to everything that would fix his life, or that he views will fix his life. And yeah, I've been coming across like someone who's defending Jimmy's actions a lot. Again, none of this should have happened. Summer shouldn't have been on a fish tank. Jimmy shouldn't have been in a fish tank. TJ should. Maybe it would have TJ should have been on Fishtank, but he should have been on season 1. He should have been on a better Fishtank than what we got. He shouldn't have been in Hell House. He should have been. This isn't even Fishtank. Season 2 of Fishtank is not Fishtank. It's Sam Hyde's Hell House, and I don't think that's as good as it needs to be to compete with Fishtank season 1. I've just repeated so much stuff over and over and again for 30 minutes. And I got a little bit worked up. I recently got a Substack uh to like write again, and my issue is that I just want to like my writing is better than me talking, but me talking is easier than me writing. So it's I didn't want to write all this down. I like to do train of thought. It's cathartic, I guess. I don't know. I really, really don't want to edit stuff. Anyway, that's just my rambling thoughts on Fishtank season 2, if you could even call it that. It's a disappointment. There's so This is so much wrong. Just the You can't have Fishtank if everyone knows what the joke is, what the bit is, what the point is. And they don't even do. They don't know that they're there just to suffer because Sam Hyde is very spiteful. That's something what made me first kind of like realize that Sam Hyde isn't this like genius who does everything, who's like he's not. You think he's like Heath Ledger's Joker, where like even when he has contingencies upon contingencies, everything just like works perfectly because he reacts well and has so many plans. When I was watching the Chuckle Nuts podcast, it's a TF2 podcast, which is really funny. Because it's like I'm not gonna get into it too much, but they had Uncle Dane on, who if he was the guy who sang the Keemstar parody for iDubbbz's Keemstar Content Cop, and he also was his current editor, and apparently he just like slacked off and like wasn't like doing his job. He was editing other stuff, his own videos, and iDubbbz didn't keep him on like a tight schedule, so they just kind of like didn't release the Sam Hyde documentary. Not really because he didn't want to, uh, but because it just wasn't a priority. Um, and Sam Hyde interpreted that as in like just giving up and like being ashamed not want to do it. So they released their own cut, which I'll give Jet Neptune, great editor. That's a great the Sam Hyde side of the documentary is really great, uh, and fun. And Jet Neptune's homeless guy bit's hilarious. But that was Sam only gave the green light for that to be made because he was like impatient and vindictive and thought he was being slighted, so he struck first. And that's kind of like is like, well, if he's getting that petty, when what's is like it's just so disappointing that this like mythological figure is like not is not. I think my grand thesis is that the people on the show, from the fish to the not contestants, the freeloaders, to the fans, to the production team, everyone are just people, and that they're not actually characters, and that there is no real narrative because it's real life, and real life doesn't have a true narrative. And I really, really, really do not like that. I do not like the idea that reality is not this perfect, perfect thing that flows smoothly. Because I could feel it. Everything just works out perfectly so many times, so perfectly, and it's just things naturally work out. So why are you trying to get your fingers in and start maneuvering a thing for spite? That's lame. That's lame. To be spiteful is lame. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. It can be entertaining, but you're just missing the narrative. Maybe I'm just like a crazy person who's seeing thing that is just like seeing something that isn't there. I don't know. Maybe I think I'm smarter than I actually am, which I don't know. I think everyone does, but also simultaneously doesn't. I think everyone is both dumber and also smarter than how they think they are. I don't know. This has been 36 minutes. Yeah. I'll keep going for a bit. So, talking more about Sam Hyde. Uh, again, the narrative of this just goofy internet comedian guy who, with some friends, uh, got lucky and made it big and got on Adult Swim and had a show made that was really funny and like almost the uh the prison bit, uh the man who wouldn't be what they, I don't know what it's called, but like the entire thing is it's almost beautiful, from the way he's like so ambivalent about the world around him to like how it's shot, uh to the John Mouse at the end. Even like Cop Killer like fits more like thematically, I guess. But I just love Hey Moon so much more so. But like that's what I first saw it because the edit, because censorship, whatever. Um, it captures this feeling that was beautiful, and he made that. But then he was struck down because some of the content they made previously was too edgy, and some of the things they were trying to make for Adult Swim was not like clean. But more importantly, there was people already established in Adult Swim who saw it and saw it as a threat of, this is the next comedy guy. We're the comedy. It's Tim and Eric. I've said the Dylan and Eric joke so much that I don't even remember their names half the time. But Tim and Eric, more specifically Tim Heidecker, saw the new comedy guys, didn't like that there was new comedy guys, and then him and a bunch of people who fight against him kicked him out. They got in the way up the chain and said, this guy isn't good. This guy is going to cost us money. He's making some really bad things. And it worked, and they got him out. And he was at this pit where it was this thing that was great that was gone. It was taken away. Icarus flew too close to the sun and his wings melted. But through boxing, through the iDubbbz documentary, and through Fishtank season 1, Icarus got his wings back, and $1 Million Extreme World Peace 2 was being made, and everything was perfect. Narratively, it was beautiful. It was like a swoop up, crashing down, and then the rising action. I don't even just have the knowledge to describe how narratives work, but it just you could feel it. It's perfect. and to see like the great magnet from Fear and Loathing, like the great magnet is pulling you, is he was given a gift from God. God said, Sam Hyde, this is your arc. This is your story. This is your narrative. It's going to do this and that, and it's going to end here, and it's going to be beautiful. And all you have to do is follow the great magnet, go with the flow, move with the chakras, whatever it's called, follow the ley lines. I don't care. Just do what is natural. But he just wanted to be spiteful and wanted to pull a fast one, which has worked in the past, but he flew too close to the sun again. And now it's burning up, and I don't know if there's going to be a second one. I think the only possible way of there being some kind of thing like resolution that's satisfying uh is if the entire joke is that there's a second fish tank somewhere in Rhode Island, and there's a secret website where you can watch all the other stuff going on, where like there's 10 other contestants, and it's really great, and I don't think that's gonna happen. And I don't think Fish Tank season 1 works as like an edited sequence. It had to be something you experienced, and I don't think season 2 could be saved in editing at all. It's fundamentally doesn't work with editing because the narrative is just all over the place. There's no narrative anymore. It's been kicked aside. TJ was a reluctant hero who was so reluctant he didn't become a hero. Jimmy was supposed to be a villain, but he was not given the tools he needed to be villainous. He just was mean and violent, and he wasn't given enough information to be truly clever. And Sam Hyde failed everyone by not understanding what he needed to do. Unless, in a weird, crazy way, in a bizarre attempt of torturing his fans, he made a very, very, very bad show for the sole purpose of making all of his fans miserable. I don't know if that even works. If at the end of the season, Sam gets on camera and says, I made this show suck because I hate you, the viewer, which is what he kind of did in season 1. Man, I want everything to be perfect so much, and nobody's doing it. All right, I don't know how to end this. It could have been perfect. Maybe it couldn't have been. I just think I'm smarter than I actually am. Maybe it is perfect. I don't realize it. I don't know. Um, Thanks for watching. really, this whole thing was just to get like a bunch of hashtags and tags and whatever in the video description, so people will see a long video and watch some of it, and then subscribe and like and comment and argue and drive up my licks, and then you people, maybe some of you will stick around for my D&D content, which is what I actually like making. And I don't like making it consistently, because when you make something consistently, it becomes not fun because it's a job. And I don't know, I have mixed feelings about my D23 series, but I'm not gonna go into that. Just uh, bye, 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 bye.